Now, most of us enjoy a cup of Rooibos in the morning, occasionally, before bed as well, because it has no caffeine. However, tea is not the only product made from Rooibos. Cosmetics, beverages and medicines are also available. The Khoi and San communities have always been considered the original knowledge holders of Rooibos. Now the community will finally be able to enjoy its share of the industry. A 2019 sharing agreement is finally paying out in the form of the first tranche of 12 million rand. For more on this momentous occasion, we're joined by the National Khoi and San Council Chairperson, Cecil Lafleur, who joins us live from Vredendal. Cecil, thank you so much for your time this evening. The news of the first tranche, the first payment after so many years of this benefit sharing agreement that you were working on, finally being made public. Just your reaction to that moment finally arriving.
Yeah, it was really a remarkable achievement. And we feel very, very delighted that that moment eventually arrived, because we've been fighting and struggling for that recognition for so long, for many, many years. And now we can sit back and say, mission accomplished. Although we will still be in consultation and in negotiations with the Rooibos industry as the years unfolding into the future. So, but this is really something that the Khoi and San people appreciate, are very delighted of, and we are happy that we can witness this achievement.
Now, most of the reports written about it were talking about how these negotiations stretched back to 2014, when the government recognized the Khoi and San as the rightful traditional knowledge holders of Rooibos. But your council and your people have been trying to get to this point long before 2014 already. Can you take us into your confidence and talk to us just about some of the challenges that you faced right at the start, just to get a seat at the table or a foot in the door to try and have this important conversation to start these negotiations?
Yeah, no, it was really a winding road, a very difficult road to travel. We started long ago with the negotiations, not only on the recognition of our rights to Rooibos tea, or to the indigenous knowledge of that tea, but also to be recognized as South Africa's indigenous peoples. But in terms of the tea, we started to negotiate with the Rooibos industry. And when we started way back, we found the Rooibos Council, who represents the different Rooibos companies. We found them in a total state of denial. They bluntly refused to acknowledge that the Khoi and San people happen to be the first primary knowledge holders of Rooibos, the plant, as well as the produce of the plant. So we tried to persuade them, and luckily Natural Justice joined in, and the Department of Environmental Affairs also joined in, and the department commissioned a private company to do research to find out who in fact was the first knowledge holders of Rooibos. They came back after almost 2 years to declare that without any doubt, the Khoi and San people are the primary knowledge holders of Rooibos. The industry did not want to admit, and they still refuse to acknowledge. So they appointed their own company to do research. That company's report on their research did not reach us up till now. So it just disappeared. So what then happened was that they eventually admitted that they were wrong, we were right, and that we are indeed the knowledge holders of Rooibos. And then the negotiations for a benefit sharing agreement started. And that took another 3 years before we reached the point where we could sign the agreement. And that agreement was signed between the National Khoisan Council, the South African Sand Council, and the Department of Environmental Affairs. It happened to be a first of its kind in the whole world. Never before was a contract signed of that nature with industry or between an industry and communities. So it was a first for South Africa, it was a first for the world, and it was a major achievement for both South Africa and the Khoi and San people of this country.
Cecil, have you found now, after this very long process and long negotiations, that the attitude within the industry has perhaps changed? Have you found that members of your council who are small-scale farmers, because I believe there's quite a few of them in the Wuppertal Cooperative in the Western Cape and the Hayveld Co-op in the Northern Cape, do they find themselves to feel more welcome in the industry now that this acknowledgement of you being the traditional knowledge holders now is official? Are you seeing a slight change in attitude?
Yes, there are definitely a change in attitude. It started the day when they came forward to say that they now recognize the Khoi and San people as the first knowledge holders to Rooibos tea. And from there onwards, that was a very emotional day. And from there onwards, the attitude changed completely. And we worked together as a team. We assist each other. And that relationship is still in good shape as we speak.
Don't you find it a little bit ironic then that I think it was just last year when the European Union added Rooibos tea to its register of products with a protected designation of origin? I mean, one of the factors in that decision is to do with the fact that a product has centuries-old techniques in its manufacturing. And that approval from the European Union could only have happened if you had that acknowledgement that the Khoi and the San were the traditional knowledge holders of Rooibos. So in the end, everybody has benefited from that acknowledgement. You must have had a bit of a moment when that news came through from the European Union, because everybody's going to benefit financially from that decision, because now Rooibos can only come, it can only be called Rooibos if it comes from those regions down in the Cape.
Yes, because it is only limited to the Cederberg range, mountain range, and therefore, as you have indicated rightfully, it was declared a geographical indicator alongside products like champagne in France. So yes, that was also a very remarkable breakthrough, and also the Rooibos industry benefited out of this, because they can now easily access permits to export Rooibos to the different countries of the world. Without that recognition, they could not do it.
Absolutely. There's been some criticism saying that this is an industry. I think I saw some figures connected to the Department of Agriculture that the Rooibos industry is worth over 500 million rand, and that something like 5.6 billion cups of tea are made across the world, and Rooibos is a part of that. Some are saying 12 million rand is a drop in the teacup, as it were, and that your people deserve more. What do you say to that criticism? And What are you planning to do with these tranches? Because I do believe this amount of money or this percentage will be paid through to you on an annual basis now.
Yes. No, definitely we don't think that that is enough. But given the circumstances and given the fact that it is a first breakthrough, a first step on the ladder, we are at the moment quite happy that we could receive that amount of money. But it is something that will be reviewed year after year. And there will be studies done to determine what is the growth in the industry and what is the issues that threaten the industry, such as droughts and etc. So it will be a fluctuating issue. So, but we believe that this amount will definitely grow as the years go by. But for now, we feel that we make this achievement. We will build on this. We will build on our good relationship with the industry and see how we can persuade the industry to increase that amount year after year.
And just very quickly, your plans to start with in terms of how you would like to use those funds going forward?
That is, of course, a very, very big challenge because we must now distribute that money amongst all the Khoi and San communities in this country. And there are a lot of them. So we must also mention here that the 12 million as a first payment must be divided between the San Council and the National Khoi and San Council. So to explain it quickly, it's the San people and the Khoi people respectively. So the money will then be paid over by the department into the account, the trust account of, in our case, the Khoi Biodiversity Trust. That trust will then develop, and we are busy with doing that, develop a set of principles and policies whereby we will manage the money that we receive. We will never pay out in cash to any community. We agreed that each community must submit a business plan, and the CEO of the trust will then look at the business plan and see if it's possible and if it's necessary to help those communities if the business plan is not up to standard or is not achievable. So that education will take place. We will then also just pay out to a business plan or to a project post the sitting of the trust. So everything will be governed in a proper manner and based on fairness and selfishness and all of that.
Okay,
so,
we're going to have to leave it there. We can only wish you and your council everything of the best as you take on this next challenge. Thank you so much for your time. That's Cecil Lefleur. He's the National Khoi and San Council chairperson, joining us there live from Vredendal. Fascinating story, that.